This haunted home has visible spirits stalking about. Published by A Sip of Fear in January of 2022, an unsettling figure was captured in the glass during this paranormal investigation. After setting up some cameras in this haunted home, activity begins pretty quickly. A wardrobe door is captured opening and closing, and later a bang causes the paranormal investigator to jump out of his skin. In another room, a stationary camera captures a figure's reflection in the glass door of a shelf. And again, the wardrobe door opens and closes repeatedly. Is this spirit trying to tell us something? Or does she just want to be left alone? Some videos have the power to keep us up all night long. As we're drifting off to sleep, they enter into our subconscious, making us sit bolt upright. The fear is real. The fright. This was posted to Reddit with the uploader writing, "My friend is security at the airport, and he saw this through the security cameras." The video shows an American Airlines desk with what appears to be a service door beside it. The airport looks empty. Perhaps the security footage was taken during closing hours. But if it's empty, what makes the door do this? The door swings open aggressively, with no one behind it. These types of doors are usually heavy and secure, and as Astral Cath explains in the comments, are often locked or require a manual code to open, so it's unclear how wind or something natural might have burst the door open like this. So what could it be? Theories in the comments range from a ghost running late for a flight to unequal air pressure. Redditor Steve MageGod points out that there's a slight shadow change before the door flings open. So as usually happens, we've got those who think this is paranormal activity on one side, and the skeptics who suggest this could be readily explained on the other. Which side are you on? When you hear footsteps approaching your room, you'd better lock the door. Posted by Eli Walt KG to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures something invisible entering the Redditor's room. Turn up the volume and you can indeed hear footsteps as Eli films the door of his bedroom. Then quietly the door creeps open. While most can agree this would make a normal person freeze, some commend the Redditor's bravery, while others, like Redditor B565656 warn him, "Have you learned nothing from horror movies? You don't walk towards the sound in the dark." Totally, who knows what's lurking in the darkness beyond that door? A TikToker named Sydney Carpenter is convinced that her Snapchat filter is detecting not one but two nearby faces. "I don't think anything on this table or wall looks like a face, so I don't think it's a glitch." She tells it to stick its tongue out if it can hear her, and it does after a moment's hesitation. "I don't think it's a coincidence, but watch this part for yourself and tell me."
"Stick your tongues out if you can see me." "Do it, babe." "Yo, there's two of them."
Later on, it appears in a totally different place than last time. Like before, the Dalmatian appears to give the answer that yes, it is in fact up to no good.
"Are you good? Are you bad?"
She starts speaking to the remaining dog, and upon being asked if it was good, it disappears instantly.
"Are you good?" It disappeared.
Which I guess stands for no. There's just way too many strange interactions like this one that makes sense for me to ignore. This video was taken near the Pearl Tower in Shanghai, China. The forecast is clearly cloudy and thunder can be heard in the distance. It appears people began recording when they saw someone who appears to be levitating or hanging off the tower. Suddenly, there's a surge of lightning, and it appears this person acts as a lightning rod because he's shocked numerous times by the lightning. But the man is fine and stays suspended in midair. I couldn't find any additional information on the incident. So it appears we'll never know what happened to this individual beyond the recording of this video. If this video is real. A YouTuber named Ariane Childress is a ghost hunter using some sort of paranormal software that I'm not familiar with. It almost looks like split screen night vision with some sort of enhancement feature on the right. Anyway, Ariane uses the program to capture what appears to be an oversized face lingering in her window.
No, seriously, I'm like looking at this window, there's nothing out there. It looks like there's a face. That's really creepy.
She says that she's been feeling watched in real life when she turned the app on and pointed it towards the window. Meanwhile, the colors continue to switch from pitch black to a gray discolored face.
Not normal.
Be sure to let me know what this app is and how it works if you have any knowledge. Is there a ghost at this military base? Posted to the paranormal subreddit by Multifrapser. This creepy sound clip was captured in a base for the Finnish Defense Forces. The Redditor explains that the video was cut out of the clip for security reasons, but that it was recorded near a public road at around 10:30 p.m. in January of 2020. Though it's short, he said the sound continued for 45 minutes until 11:15 p.m. The Redditor writes, "During the time I captured this clip, I'd kept watch at one of the checkpoints that led to the military base or garrison." He explains that the noise started to get quieter little by little until it vanished. Another military personnel had heard the same noises the night before around midnight. He also describes the base's surroundings. There is a town about 1.5 kilometers away that turns into a veritable ghost town around this time. There are also a central fire station and rural industries nearby, as well as a railroad track, but only one rail line is scheduled to pass there at a specific time and doesn't make this noise. On the opposite side of the base is a small bay with only motor and sailboats that don't usually operate at this time of day or year. Across from the base is a water tower made of concrete, which is where he thinks the noise may be coming from, though he had never heard this sound before. He describes the surroundings that night as not windy. There are many different theories in the comments as to the source of this noise, with some suggesting it could be the mysterious sky trumpets that have been captured all over the world. Others suggest coronal mass ejections in the ionosphere, which have to do with the aurora borealis. It could also be singing ice, which is a sound effect that happens when frozen soil or rock cracks after water seeps in and freezes. Some also think the rhythmic oscillation sounds mechanical or like breathing. The Redditor Paul JS75 believes that the Redditor might be on the right track with the water tower theory, writing, "Keep in mind when draining or filling the thing, there also has to be a way for air to get in or out. A lot of air rushing through a passage is going to make noise. What do you think this is? Do you have any other theories? I think no matter what the cause is, this would be terrifying to hear outside at night while being alone." A man has been plagued by a demonic invasion that refuses to give him peace. On February 9th of 2017, he records not one, but two shadow figures ominously standing nearby. All you can do is hear his nasal breathing as he watches, stunned and trying not to scream, all while this heavy drape breathes in and out all by itself. Watch how it moves. That's not the wind. Besides, it was staying still for the past 4 minutes and 40 seconds prior. And you don't even want to see what's moving on his other window. I'll show you its true form in just a little bit, but for now let's focus on a couple different incidences first. On July 22nd of that same year, he is turning over a crystal again and again, possibly in hopes that some of its protective energy will rub off on him. Slowly but surely, this bright spot begins to manifest itself before his very eyes, starting at 1 minute and 33 seconds. Hope turns to horror as the omen spins around to reveal a grinning reptile-like face that he's sure is the Lord of the Underworld himself, its stony face shrouded in half darkness. This ties into a separate incident 12 days earlier on July 10th. That's when he claims to have recorded what he calls a ghoul lurking in the bush outside of his window. When you pause at 3 seconds, it does look like the top half of a skeletal face that soon disappears into the bushes, black eyes and all. That definitely wasn't a normal animal, so what was it? It looks remarkably similar to the face seen in the crystal nearly 2 weeks later. Sometimes it would show up in the most unlikely of places, like the folds of a piece of fabric as shown here on February 15th, 2017. Do you see the creepy goblin face with a long nose, big ears and open mouth? I can even see an eye, and that's the more friendly of the two faces. This second one looks like two worried eyes and a mouth locked in a permanent scream. There's not as much detail and some of the features are disproportionate and misshapen, but it's still there nonetheless. So now that you've seen the demon's face a few times, I suppose you are ready to see the rest of it and the rest of the original video. This is what he saw crawling into his home that fateful early February day. This upside down creature is in fact one of the many beings who he claims to see on the regular. It's hard to make out exactly what this is, but it's harder still to disprove it, and it gives me a bad feeling all around. I tend to believe this video, and all of these sightings for that matter. He claims the quality of the video has somehow sharply deteriorated over time since uploading, and that the being at one point looked more detailed and even had horns. I don't see how this is possible for a digital copy to become less clear, but the colors do look muted here and apparently were brighter. So I want to know if you think that this man is legitimately seeing demons around his house, or if this is all happening in his mind. As much as I want to believe this is a delusion like some people think it is, I don't necessarily agree. The problem is I do see a lot of what he claims on video, so there's a good chance it could be true. Rain and Geno of Sinister RP return to finish a paranormal grudge, one that began at the cemetery, a haunted apartment that they are left with. 3 days ago is when they went exploring here for the first time, the Boyd Cemetery, somewhere in Canada. That's when a ghost decided that if they wanted to explore its home, then it's only fair to explore theirs. Later that night, they are able to make spiritual contact by using a ghost hunting app. The creepy conversation does not go well.
Can you tell me your name? If there is anything following me, you are not allowed to anymore.
The voice of a ghost named Ernest is followed by the sarcastic voice of a little ghost girl who says too bad at the very notion of banishing them. Ernest too sounds sarcastic when he says goodbye.
I said goodbye.
Their replies occur in real time and make sense, so they could have been actual EVPs from the other side. Rain and Geno are not the type to be intimidated in their own home, and so they bravely return to the cemetery 3 days later for a final showdown, but the ghost's voices only mock her as she scorns and warns them.
Please do not follow us home. You are not allowed to follow us home. You are not allowed to attach yourselves to us or anything that we have here. We are going now. Goodbye.
The spirits don't sound very convinced, and as they back out of the Boyd Cemetery in silence, they think they catch a glimpse of a fiendish figure crouching behind a marker, perhaps old Ernest himself. That's not part of the architecture in my opinion. It only looks more supernatural and creepy when you zoom in. Perhaps coming back here has done more harm than good. Sinister RP believes they have caught a real ghost sighting caught on camera. Tell me if you agree with their paranormal evidence, or if you have an alternative explanation. This video comes from a YouTuber named Kusun2. He's a college student with an original Xbox that has a very strange and unexplainable problem. Every time he is hanging out by himself, his console likes to turn itself on. This happens so often that Kusun 2 decides to record it for evidence. The only problem is that this Xbox appears to be camera shy. He'll stare and stare at it and it won't do a thing. It only seems to turn on when he is doing something else, almost as if it's trying to distract him. Even now as he films his Xbox and explains his story, it refuses to turn on by itself. It makes him look like a fool. After talking for about 5 minutes, Kusun 2 finally decides to test his theory and leaves the room. The Xbox does nothing for a long time, but then keep in mind that there's no way to turn on an original Xbox remotely, and he always keeps his controller neatly wrapped up on the top of the system, so he can't be using a controller that's out of sight. On top of that, things have been regularly disappearing and reappearing on their own, and now Kusun 2 is extremely creeped out about being alone. YouTuber Joey Image announces that he's going to explore the hidden room in his parents' home, but don't tell his parents. He hasn't been in the room since he was a kid, so who knows what they have hidden inside now. The secret room is covered by a painting and the door is artfully camouflaged into the wooden panels of the wall. Joey pries the hatch open and it pulls out completely from the wall. He notes that it's pitch black in there and full of spider webs. Freaky. After removing the hatch door, he peers inside and invites viewers to come on in. The room is hidden under the stairs of his parents' house. On a shelf in the room, he finds a whole set of heavy wrought iron horse-drawn wagon figurines. It looks old, nostalgic, and antique. Could be worth some money. He also finds a box of plastic serving trays, an old splicer for film, a decanter, a cooking pot in a basket, a sheet of paper that reads January 7th, 1979, with a list of various drinks. Assumedly, the box below is full of these drinks. He finds a box labeled with White Horse from Glasgow, Scotland, sealed shut, but he doesn't open it, otherwise his parents would have caught him. While he calls the discovery disappointing overall, in my opinion, a box full of mysteries is never disappointing. This unknown creature sighting found frozen in ice has gone viral over the years despite lacking a backstory, or at least one I was able to research. Some people say this creature sighting is a half deer, half man humanoid that got trapped under the ice before they could resurface. I think this is a Photoshop though, and I'll tell you why. When you look really closely at this picture, as many times as I have, you'll realize the face is actually a Photoshop Jason mask from Friday the 13th. You can just barely mark out the air holes beneath the nose, like a hockey mask ordinarily has. The hollow eyes are also exactly the same dimensions as the Jason mask. It's a good Photoshop for sure, one that has fooled many people for years, but without video evidence. I have to believe this is a Jason mask with deer antlers photoshopped over it. Let me know if you think that's what it is. I would be pretty proud if I was the only one who finally debunked this picture. It's been creeping me out for a long time. This creature in the sky is unidentifiable, but it's got 6 legs. We originally came across this video on the Spanish-speaking scary video community in June of 2019. The thing appears to have a pin head, multiple crab-like legs, and finally wings. As you can see, when it takes off from the tree branch it's crouched upon. The creature looks extraterrestrial. It's certainly something nobody has seen on Earth. Whatever it is, you don't want this monster hiding under your bed. We managed to track down the original source, and this turns out to be a CGI creature made by the Nicaraguan YouTube team, JJPD Producciones. So if you come across this video because it's spreading all over the internet, now you know its true origins. This giant sky disturbance over Japan was captured on multiple cameras in 2013, so there's little doubt that it is real. The question then becomes not if this happened, but rather what caused it. I think that this was most likely a comet, but others claim this is clearly a failed Russian rocket launch or even a UFO. Watch this part and you can see how the comet becomes very bright as it hits Earth's atmosphere, and then fizzles out quickly. At the same time, I can definitely see how people would think this was a UFO blasting into deep space, or a rocket disintegrating. It does seem to kind of disappear without warning. So let me know which of these three possibilities you think it was. Would you get on a small wooden boat in a murky pond full of alligators? YouTube channel The Omar Gosh Vlogs dives right in this scary video. Can you see the gator in the water, drifting toward them? You might think these folks landed in gator territory by accident, but it looks like this is actually something people paid to do.
Guys, there's tons of hot dogs out there. Savannah looks hungry, don't you guys think?
The gators look like they could chomp them at any moment. In fact, the group is sandwiched in between them.
Look at these guys here. They're so crazy to get followed by an alligator.
Break it in half, George. Break it in half.
Oh my God.
What do you think? Would you pay money to be gator bait? Me neither.
This ladder is walking down the driveway. No one's touching it. No one's around it. And it's actually walking down the driveway.
That's the reaction of Tony Doe as he videotapes a walking ladder on its own. The ladder clatters down the driveway as if someone is guiding it in short steps, but nobody is near. If you have any possible explanations for this, or have seen this before with your own eyes, then please share your experience. If no one has a proper explanation, then this is one of the most perplexing videos I think I've analyzed on this channel to date. There's no more haunted a place than a 20th century lockup. Published to YouTube by Heather Hauntings in March of 2020, Heather and her man are staying in a cell where inmates have allegedly passed away. The result? Major paranormal activity as evidenced in these two videos. Last used in 1984, the jailhouse was once the scene of at least one life-taking, and another person locked up took their own life. Of course, with such a twisted history, many believe former inmates now haunt its grounds. Paranormal investigators have heard caustic sounds, footsteps, and voices. Even the historian believes the place is haunted. Bullard told the Jasper News, "Let's just say I went to the front door and left quickly. I heard something. I saw something that moved like a shadow, and I didn't stick around."
Here all night?
It seems enough of a warning for these paranormal investigators to know they're about to experience something truly chilling. In one video, they explore talking to the spirits via the spirit box, meanwhile hearing strange noises throughout the building. At one point, when they black out the room, loads of EVPs can be heard on the spirit box. In the second video, as they're staying overnight in the cell, they attempt to communicate with the spirits again. After asking if another inmate took the life of the spirit, they hear a distinctive yes twice on the EVP.
Yes. That was a very clear yes.
At around 14 minutes 30 seconds into the video, they start to hear the lightest of footsteps. They attempt to catch some shut-eye in the cell, and around 3 a.m., the witching hour, something bangs loudly, awakening them. Around the same time they heard this noise, Greg says he felt something touch his leg. Needless to say, they couldn't go back to sleep in the cell. Could you? I certainly wouldn't. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.